Attitude. We have seen this topic already a little bit. Initially, we had seen attitude क्या होता है. Attitude is basically the feelings which we are having, we can say. Feelings in the sense, what do we believe about another person or another object or another event? Anything it could be. Like it, here you can see in the second paragraph, attitude is understood as belief, feelings, and action tendency of a person or group or even a team towards objects, ideas, or people. It can be in a favorable way or a, you can say, unfavorable way also. Our belief, our feelings, etc. towards an individual or a group, it can be positive as well as negative. We can also say that attitude reflects a person's likes or dislikes. And here, this already we had covered, so I'm just going a little bit fast. Here you can see three components of attitude. These are the three components: cognitive, affective, and behavioral. Cognitive attitude is connected with the belief or information you have about something. Like, I believe this is like this. I feel this is like this. This is the information which I have got. That is cognitive component. Affective component means your sentiments, your feelings and all with respect to the cognitive component. Like your favorable or unfavorable attitude, your like or dislike, those things. Cognitive or behavioral attitude means how you are behaving towards something because of the cognitive and affective component. For example, I'll tell you, you got an information, you got a understanding, or you have a belief that your friend is having some misunderstanding with you. Okay, that is cognitive component. Your friend is having some kind of misunderstanding with you. Now, what will be your affective component over here? You will be having some kind of feelings or sentiments due to this reason. You might be feeling sad, or you might be having some unfavorable attitude because of this. What will be the behavioral component then? The way now you are going to behave towards your friend. You may not be talking to him, or you may him or her, or you may, even if you're talking, you may talk thoda rudely baat karenge aap log. So that is how the behavior is getting dependent due to, or how the behavior is altering due to cognitive and affective component. Okay, so these are the three components: cognitive, affective, and behavioral. Now, the next topic over here is what are the different functions. This also we had covered. I told you just read this part and go. What are different functions? Due to attitude, we will be able to adjust in various situations. Like each and every situation also will be different. How you are reacting in one situation, that even if the same situation is coming after some days, you may react in another way. So our attitude can be adjusted or adapted based on the situations. Same way it is ego defensive. When you're forming an attitude, it is actually protecting you or giving you a self-image from outside threat. मतलब ऐसे गुस्से जैसे इमेज बना के रखेंगे और ऐसे बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग एटीट्यूड बना के रखेंगे, तो बाहर के लोग भी आपको अप्रोच करने के लिए थोड़ा ये करेंगे, थोड़ा रुकेंगे. So that is the meaning here, ego defensive function. Same way, value expressive functions, your attitude shows what you are, what you are standing for. Knowledge function, attitude is also concerned with whatever information or knowledge you are having. So these things are important in an organization to understand how employees are behaving in different situations, or how managers can help the employees behave in different situations. And to an extent, managers can help in changing the attitude also of the employees. Now, sources of formation of attitude, from where this attitude is being developed. Most of these are acquired. Our personality can be developed or it can be inherited a little bit, but attitudes are normally acquired. It is not inherited. Inherited means what we are getting from our forefathers or ancestors. Personality, our physical features are not, to an extent, can be inherited, but apne behavior, apne attitude, that is what we are creating or what we are acquiring. So most important source, how do we acquire this attitude? There are different sources. First one is direct experience. From your experience, you are developing your attitude. So people develop attitude from a personally benefiting experience as well as a punishing experience as well. What does this punishing experience means? आपको मतलब पॉजिटिव एक्सपीरियंस से भी आपके एटीट्यूड चेंज हो सकता है, नेगेटिव एक्सपीरियंस की वजह से भी आपके एटीट्यूड चेंज हो सकते हैं. That is the meaning here, benefiting experience as well as punishing experience. Here you can see an example. Consider a cook who has searched 2 months for a new food processor only to have it break down 3 months after purchase. Through direct experience, she will then reevaluate her earlier attitude towards the processor. Attitudes formed on experience are difficult to change. Just one small example is given over here. A cook or a chef who bought a new food processor found that it is damaged within 3 months after purchase. Now this is the experience which he or she has got. Now her attitude towards this particular food processor, particular company would have changed. So such things which when we are getting experience directly, such experience, such attitude is difficult to change. Then vicarious learning, like it means observational learning. What do we learn, do that now many times. Whatever we are learning comes from our observation point of view. Like it is also known as observational learning or social learning or modeling or monkey see monkey do. It observes from observational learning, then retaining that. This is very common in children. What the children do it? Children are observing others, isn't it? Children, when they start talking also, they are actually copying what elders are saying. So that is vicarious learning. That also helps in forming an attitude. So children form their attitude at a very early age about others through this type of learning. So whatever we are talking to the children, they easily tend to absorb those things. That is vicarious learning through observation or through social learning. Then family and peer groups, very important. Whatever we are learning, our attitude, that is also getting influenced by our family and peer group. The child during childhood, our models will be different. As and when we grow, we learn what is good, what is bad, what is ethical, what is unethical. And all these are coming from our experience, from our family. Whatever, especially when we are children, whatever we are learning from our family, that definitely have a bearing on our attitude. Even our attitude towards movies, stars, sports, personality, opposite sex, religion, all are coming basically from our family and peer groups. Peer groups means people of your same age, your friend groups. So they also have a say in our attitude. Then economic status and occupations. Economic means our, like we can tell economic background, the money background which we are coming from. That also to an extent form our attitude. Same way our social background also. Then mass communications, like the different communication media like televisions, radio, newspapers, whatever is containing large quantities of information, this can definitely affect the mind of an individual. Not fully, but still we can say that little bit it is actually it can actually validate our opinion. Or we can, when we are watching these new television channels, or nowadays of course through social media and all, and when we are reading newspapers and all, we will be getting contents which will be helpful to validate our opinion or even change our opinion and all, change our attitude and all towards various things. So this is another source. So once an attitude is formed, it plays a very important role in every individual's life. We are what because of our personality and also because of our attitude. In each of the stage, we also have to remember that attitude can be both favorable or unfavorable. And depending on the situation, it will be changing. Next is some different attitudes which you have to very importantly learn, which are known as attitudes at the workplace. Attitudes at the workplace means at the job location. So this is known as work-related attitudes. Work-related attitudes are very important in every organization, especially in the success or failure of any organization. So in every organization, especially nowadays, we can say that most of the organizations would like to know how the HR is performing. HR means human resources. How the people are performing, whether they are happy in the organization, what is their perception, or what is their attitude towards the organization. So this can be understood like with the help of three important work related points. That is, first one is job satisfaction. We always hear about this term, job satisfaction. What is this job satisfaction? It refers to contentment. Satisfaction refers to contentment. What is contentment? Means happy. It's level होते हैं when you're happy with whatever you're having. That is contentment. It is a state of mind. Only when you're experiencing it, you will understand that. So job satisfaction refers to one's feeling towards our job. When an employee is said to be satisfied, he is said to have a positive attitude towards the job and vice versa. In an organization, employee attitude invariably refers to job satisfaction, or invariably it is connected to job satisfaction. Now, what is making an employee satisfied? Definitely, there are so many related factors or variables over here. It could be like the salary, which is making him happy, the working conditions, maybe the proximity to his home, maybe the status which he is enjoying, the power, the authority, the position which he or she is enjoying in the job. There are various reasons or factors, or we can say variables with respect to job satisfaction. But one thing is important here. When a person is satisfied in his workplace, he or she definitely has a positive attitude towards the job. Then job involvement. Job involvement is a psychological association one has with the job. It refers to the degree with which an individual identifies psychologically with his or her job and perceives that this performance is very important to self-worth. High degree of job involvement results in fewer absences and lower resignation rates and vice versa. Job involvement means the mental connection you're having towards the job. Many times we can see that people have a job, it is like a daily routine. They go to the office, they come back. They may not be having much involvement over there. But when there is job involvement, we can say that that person is highly satisfied in the work and they try to give the maximum in that job. So involving means having a mental association, a mental connection with his or her job, and considering that the performance which is to be delivered over there is very important. Then there is organizational commitment. Students, just read the first 2 points. The first 2 points are very important. Read it clearly. So that is job satisfaction and job involvement. Sometimes you can see people who are very much workaholic, you can say. Workaholic means they are so much committed, so much dedicated towards their job. Such type of people, they will be in such organizations, there will be lesser absences. Absences means lesser absentees in the workplace and lower resignation rates, lower employee turnover, like that. Then there is organizational commitment. When job involvement is one's attachment to a job, organizational commitment is attachment towards the company or an employee's identification with a particular organization and its goals. Organizational commitment is understood as one's identification with his or her organization and feels proud of being its employee. Here also the employee turnover and absenteeism will be low because the employees are having organizational commitment. So organizational commitment means what? More than the job. Of course, many instances we can see when the reputation of the company is very good, extremely good, people will still continue to work there despite having maybe many other issues. This is just because they are very much happy with the company's policies, or we can say the company's the way the company is dealing with the employees and all. They will be having some minor issues like maybe the organizations may be too far away. They might be transferred to some other location. Even in case The people will be ready to work in such organization where they are literally proud of being the employees over there. In such cases also, the attitude will be very favorable or positive. So job involvement is attachment towards one's job. Organizational commitment means more than job involvement, they are attached to the company. Like for example, if an employee is working in a company since so many years, in the same position, and that person may not be having much personal growth over there, and even when he is getting maybe some other good offers, he may tend to continue in the same previous organization. This is because he is having this dedication or commitment towards the organization. So these three factors are very important: job satisfaction, job involvement, and organizational commitment. Next is changing attitude. Changing attitude. An unfavorable or negative attitude of an employee needs to be changed. It is in the interest of both, that is, interest of the organization as well as interest of the employee. We need to change the attitude. But can we do that? It is actually very complex, very difficult to change the attitude of an employee. Unless that person is fully realized or fully aware that his or her behavior should be changed, then only we can change an individual. Otherwise, simply we cannot change the attitude of an individual. But what are these? Here you can see some of the barriers to change. Barriers means some of the obstacles, some of the problems in order to change the behavior of an individual. One is escalation of commitment. Escalation of commitment means the tendency to become increasingly committed to bad decisions, even as the losses associated with them are very high. It is the tendency to get trapped in bad decisions. Like we can say that throwing good money after bad. Sometimes we invest in shares of company whose value is falling down. Even though we know that it is a bad decision, we are not able to come out of such decisions. It refers to the prior commitment of the people to a particular cause and they are not ready to change. Sometimes we can see that when we are amongst a group of friends and they might be taking some wrong decisions and we are also forced to follow that because of our prior relationship or prior, we can say, friendship with those group of friends, and we are not able to say no to them. In such cases, we cannot change our attitude. That is escalation of commitment towards bad things, towards bad decisions. Then it is difficult to change a person in such a way. Then there is cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance means it is having a feeling where there are two contradictory ideas. Contradictory means two opposite ideas together. Some will be something like it, we'll just see over here. Dissonance normally happens when a person is perceiving or viewing there's some kind of logical inconsistency among his or her decisions. जैसे कि two things which are opposite are happening together. For example, fighting for animal rights at the same time eating meat. This is a contradiction over here. Just one example is mentioned over here. You have two viewpoints and there is conflicting of viewpoints over here. In such cases also, it will be difficult to change the attitude of an individual. But when the ideas are the same, ideas are consistent, it is easy to change the people. So here one example is given over here. In an organizational setting, cognitive dissonance occurs when an employee desires to leave the present job as there is no use in continuing and working hard. The individual may rationalize his or her stay with such explanation as organization is not bad after all, or what is the alternative. मतलब अंदर के अंदर एम्प्लॉय को जॉब छोड़ के जाने की मन है, बट देयर इज अनदर कॉन्फ्लिक्टिंग एटीट्यूड, कॉन्फ्लिक्टिंग बिहेवियर ओवर हियर, थिंकिंग मैं ये जॉब छोड़ के मैं करूंगी क्या. So such type of conflicting behaviors, opposite behaviors, that is resulting in changing in the attitude of an employee. That is cognitive dissonance. Another reason is insufficient information. Because people will not know what is to be done, or they don't have any information why they should change, they will not be ready to change. Sometimes people see no reason why they should change their attitude. Like the boss may not like a subordinate's negative attitude, but later may be quite pleased with his behavior. So boss cannot tell him why a negative attitude is actually a barrier to his progress, or any reasons will be there, but the employees may not be able to be convinced why that person should be changed. That is one problem. Maybe the employee is very hardworking in the organization, okay, very hardworking, but his behavior towards the peers, towards the colleagues need to be changed. But that is not, it is not possible to convince him to change. Such type of reasons also act as a barrier to change the attitude of an individual. Now, ways of changing attitude. Again, changing attitude is again not at all easy. Certain efforts can be taken from the organizational side to at least make the employees understand why it is important to change their behavior. One is rewards and performance. One of the reasons why employees may develop negative attitude may be because many employees may not be identified or they may not be rewarded properly. Like maybe their employees might be working very hard, but their performance, even though it is extremely good, maybe they feel that I am not being noticed by the organization. This may make that person develop a negative attitude. Same way, like they may not be even properly rewarded despite giving their best. So the reward system should be in such a way that it is closely connected with the individual or team performance. Then there is clarity in defining roles. Clarity means what an employee is supposed to do. Defining roles. In an organization, we have already seen that there will be different positions, different roles and all. But when there is ambiguity, ambiguity means there is no clarity. Ambiguity means confusion or clarity. When that person does not know what am I supposed to do over here, nobody is guiding me, then definitely that person will be having a negative attitude. So there should be clarity in defining the roles. Then providing new information. If that we have seen, no, lack of information is actually a barrier. So when we try to provide new information in the sense messages which will help that individual change, such type of information should be given. Like we can say that many times employees might not be knowing about the good intentions of the management. They may not be aware about the welfare activities conducted by the management. Because of this, they may turn negative towards the management. So it is just because there is no clarity, there is lack of good information towards the employee. So such information should be clearly passed. Then another tactic here is using fear. डरा के काम करवा के लेना, वैसे सुना होगा आप लोग ने. How it will be done? Using fear. Though it is not a solution at a permanent level, it can be used sometimes. Like not every time, okay, but at the same time it can be beneficial also. Like fear in the sense sometimes low level of fear may not be favorable. Moderate level also to an extent they can done. High degree of fear also cannot be exerted because that may be threatening to the organization as well. So there should be the things should be in such a way that it is in a moderate level, and the punishments and all which are being used over here should not be so much severe that the employees become or the employees have a stronger negative attitude than before. Then influence of friends or peers. Many times we usually listen to the people whom we trust, whom we are more connected with. So many times are using the help of friends and family also we can change the attitude. Then co-opting or choosing or electing a colleague. Co-opting means another way of changing attitude, taking people who are dissatisfied in a situation, helping them in order to improve the things. That is in a taking the help of a colleague, that is co-opting. Because when an employee is finding difficulty to open up in a group, that person can be taken separately, discussed what are the problems separately or privately. So that is co-opting. These are the different ways where how we can try to change the negative attitude of an employee in an organization. Now, Another last topic here is about reading emotions. Reading emotions means how do we try to understand the behavior of the other person, emotions of the other person. We can know that, no? It is not necessary that every time we should talk. When your mother is rolling her eyes, that time itself you can understand that there is something wrong in the home, isn't it? Humans communicate through their eyes, through the language, through the sound or tone of the sound, facial expressions, body language. And language and culture also can influence how people are expressing their opinion. This is known as emotional intelligence. We will learn about emotional intelligence later. Means how we are trying to capture the emotions of the other person. Every emotions need not be conveyed through words, isn't it? So some way, here you can see, some emotions are quite universal. We can easily understand positive and negative human emotions. There are 6 different categories over here: happiness, surprise, anger, fear, sadness, and disgust. Disgust means gussa, like not caring for anything. These are falling under positive and negative categories. But in order to understand, you should know what kind of actions or behaviors they are associated with it. Positive emotions कैसे होते हैं? Positive emotions are happiness, surprising, sympathy, kindness, love towards other person, courage, confidence, and all. Such attitude, such emotions actually reduce the stress. But negative emotions, as we know, increases the stress. Like sadness, fear, anger, contempt, gussa aane ka, hatred. All these are negative emotions. So, irrespective of your language, your religion, your country, and all, these are 6 universal human emotions. Then, when you're discussing, when you're talking, always focus on the eyes and mouth. That is why ना when personality development classes वगैरह में बताते हैं, आंखें में देख के बात करो. You should have that confidence to look at the eyes of the other person and talk. The region of the face in which a person displays emotion is influenced by the culture also. Some people focus on eyes in Japan, some in US they interpret the emotion in the mouth and all. So depends on the situation, depends on the places, but generally we say that talk face to face baat karte samay, look up confidently and talk. Then listen to the tone of voice. Tone means the sound. Tone is also very important. We use different tones now when we are talking. We like to show and control our emotions. Sometimes when we are angry we shout like anything. With our friends we whisper, isn't it soft? So similar tones of voice also will express different emotions. There are whispering tone, soft tone, and all. But it should ideally there should be a normal tone when we are discussing, when we are talking with other individuals. Then observe the general behavior and demeanor. Demeanor means how that person is carrying themselves. Means sometimes like we can easily understand how a person is behaving. We can even emotions are contagious. Contagious means emotions are spreading from one person to another. That is why when you're smiling, someone else is trying to smile back. So when we are observing this general behavior also, we can try to know the other person. Then developing emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence means it should be developed. Developed in the sense you should learn how to read the emotions of the other person. You should be able to perceive emotions in yourself. You should use this for thinking. You should understand the significance of emotions, and you should also know to manage or control the emotions. Then another topic here is how do you interpret the facial expressions? I told you take note of facial expression, especially eyes and face, mouth. But again, see that it can be manipulated. It can be manipulated. So we should try to know what type of emotion is actually going through their mind. Recognize a genuine smile, which is not forced or which is not fake. Try to distinguish sadness from happiness. Recognize anger and disgust. Just imagine, definitely when we are getting angry, definitely there will be a movement in our face. See, try to identify that. Understand fear and surprise. Then even we can, another method is looking for non-verbal cues. Non-verbal cues means through our body movements, through our posture, how we are sitting, and eye contact. Then how we are using our hands. Body language means how we are using our hands and all. Again, culture to culture, this is changing. Okay, that you are very much important. Like we cannot talk in the same way when we go to a foreign country. That is very important. For example, the way we give a handshake, shake hand dete hai na, that in some places it should be very soft, some places it should be very firm. That also affects the individual's body language. Notice the body movement and posture, how we are sitting. Sometimes जैसे बैठते हुए देखते हैं हम लोगों को समझ में आते हैं कि बिल्कुल भी इंटरेस्ट नहीं है बातें सुनने के लिए. कभी कभी गुस्से में कैसे बैठते हैं, when you're sad how you're sitting, all these are actually reflecting the emotions. So here some strategies are there how you can improve your emotional intelligence. Why emotional intelligence is important? It is because it will help us to understand how we should control our emotions, how we should try to learn to read others' emotions. This is useful for actually in organizations in order to read through the mind. Read through the mind मतलब वो बोलेंगे नहीं, but अपने को समझ में आना चाहिए. So some strategies, some steps are just given over here. Just go through this, all of you. Put down of your phone, stay away from PC, improve your social skills, read about people, then give away uncomfortable or negative feelings, listen to your body, when have a journal or have a diary, explain or express your thoughts and feelings over there, like that. So these are just some points which are mentioned over here. Even you can talk to a close friend or family when you are like, when you feel that you are tired, when you feel you're going low nowadays, when you feel that you're having lots of negativity in your mind. So when you're opening up itself, that helps you change your attitude towards life. So this is about attitude.